Go.
Welcome. My colleagues and I represent the consulting firm Outside Eyes. I'll start off by introducing the members of our team. I'm Taylor Calhoun. This is Caroline Gall, Gerald Harvey, Jeffrey Lyons, and Rebecca Wisby, and Rachel Russell. I'd like to thank you for taking your time to listen to the issues that we have concluded Starbucks suffers from. We also would like to recommend ways to address these issues going forward. The first issue that our firm has concluded that Starbucks suffers from is poor financial performance. We will address the decrease in stock price over the past few years and also the decreasing net profit margin in the next slides. As you can see on this slide, from 2005 to 2008, there has been a dramatic drop. Especially in 2007, in the later part of the year, it dropped significantly low. Starbucks' profit margin decreased 4.4% per year on average from 2006 to 2009. This slide shows the domestic sales. As you can see, from 2005 to 2007, there was slow growth, but near 2008 and 2009, the growth plateaued. Later in 2009, it dropped. This was a decrease of 5.7% in growth from the previous year. The sales have begun to fall, and it is continuing that way. This indicates a mature stage in the market. Along with the flattening off over the past 3 years, this decrease is a sign of caution. This map should be alarming. Domestically, we have closed, beginning in January 2008, almost 1,000 stores. This is the equivalent of 8% to the total Starbucks operations. We'll now hand it off to Gerald.
Thank you, Taylor. The second major issue that you're facing is the highly competitive. The second major issue you're facing is a highly competitive North American market. The specialty coffee and beverage industry have reached a mature stage in the U.S. The first reason that the condition of the United States market is an issue for you is because your industry is saturated and it has reached its mature stage. This is why nearly 1,000 stores were closed in the U.S. in 1 year. Too many stores were opened too quickly and too closely, and the economy couldn't support them. The next reason the condition of the U.S. market is an issue for you is because of your increased competition and the threats of substitution. The average consumer in your industry is driven by price, convenience, and taste. If you are already at McDonald's for breakfast, it only makes sense for you to get a cup of coffee there. And according to a 2007 consumer report, tasting of Starbucks and their competitors, McDonald's black coffee was voted the best. Customer loyalty. It is the last factor that accompanies competition and saturation in the United States. The increased competition directly influences the decrease in customer loyalty that you have experienced within the last couple of years. People don't want to pay $4 for a cup of coffee when they can go to McDonald's and buy it for maybe $2 or even $3. The increased competition led to an increase in substituted products, and it's also led to a decrease in your customer loyalty. As you can see, our quote for 2007, the last 6 months in 2007, you saw a decrease in customer visits in your North American stores.
Our first recommendation for you is international expansion. We have put together example cities and countries to either continue expanding into or for you to enter for the first time. In the next 3 years, you need to further your presence in Chongqing, China, and Buenos Aires, Argentina. And in the next 3 to 5 years, you need to enter India initially through Mumbai and Delhi and be ready to further expand throughout the country. As you can see here, your U.S. stores steadily declined from 2004 to 2007 in same-store sales. Your international same-store sales, on the other hand, stayed level with a slight increase in 2006. International shows much more room for growth here. Here you can see where your problems are. Obviously, your problems are in the United States. You've had 0 store closures internationally, whereas you've had nearly 8% of your total stores worldwide closed down solely in the United States. Now I'm going to let Jeff talk to you about McDonald's and Starbucks.
All right. As you can see here, we have the McDonald's store count as compared to Starbucks. McDonald's is much more present internationally than Starbucks, with nearly 20,000 stores compared to Starbucks less than 6,000. In the next 10 years, you do not need to try to equal McDonald's store count internationally, because you would be growing at a dangerous rate and possibly see a familiar problem of having to close stores because of too much growth. Y'all thought that the U.S. economy would be able to support the large number of new store openings in the past and had to close down 20% of the stores you opened from 2005 to 2009. You can see that McDonald's actually has less stores in the United States than does Starbucks, again showing little to no room for growth. McCafes. What? No. McCafes. This is what McDonald's is doing internationally. These McCafes that you see here are a separate entity inside McDonald's stores, but are set apart by a separate counter and different lounging. As you can see, the lounging is comfortable, and it's supposed to resemble a Starbucks-like environment to where there's kind of an experience involved there. And this is directly targeting Starbucks, and there needs to be competition with this internationally, and there just is not yet. Starbucks store openings. For 28 years, y'all have been open. Since 1982, Howard Schultz has been expanding this company. In that 28 years, you've opened 16,729 stores. That's roughly 600 stores per year. In the last 5 years alone, from 2005 to 2009, you opened nearly 6,500 stores. That's equivalent to 40% of total stores opened in the last 28 years of operation. 3,900 of these stores were in the U.S. in that 5-year period. This is one reason why there were nearly 1,000 store closings in the U.S. and shows that the U.S. experienced too much growth too fast and that it's mature and saturated. If you open stores at this growth rate, in this 5-year period, Starbucks averaged 14.6% growth in new store openings. If you open stores at this growth rate over the next 10 years, you would have nearly 60,000 stores open. This is too many. The growth needs to relocate internationally at a much slower pace. Over the next 10 years, we propose that at most 6,000 new stores to open, with at least 95% being international. As you can see here, we have an NPV for international stores, and this is simply to show the absolute minimum investment, growth rate, and terminal value that you can have to still make a profit. We have done enough research to where we can pretty confidently say that $225,000 is about a median opening or initial cost for a Starbucks. It's going to vary internationally, of course, but this is not for markets you've never entered before. This is for expanding into areas you already exist. So having a year one sales being above that of your initial cost is not a far stretch. We put a 7.5% growth rate to try to be as conservative as possible and show that